The Wagner Act by Matt Batchelder. The Wagner Act is also known as the National Labor Relations Act. The National Labor Relations Act was an act to protect the rights of employees and employers in cases that could harm the general welfare of the United States economy. Who was a part of the National Labor Relations Act and who did it affect? The main author of the act was Senator of New York Robert F. Wagner. It was signed into law by Franklin D. Roosevelt. The National Labor Relations Act mostly affected employees and their employers. It gave the employees rights to join unions, and it gave employers limitations on wages and interferences with the unions. In this picture, it shows a common outbreak of the employees trying to lobby themselves to get higher wages, and it usually ended with police intervention. What really is the Wagner Act? The Wagner Act is one of the most important acts of the modern era, which puts limitations on employees' interference with their work unions. An example of a union is the teacher union that protects the rights of teachers. This allowed more fairness in the workplace and helped rebuild the economy. Where did these events mostly occur? They mostly occurred in New York and in Washington, D.C. Here is a quote describing the workplace at the time. Injustice was as common as streetcars. When men walked into their jobs, they left their dignity, their citizenship, and their humanity outside. That was by Walter Reuther, who lived in New York. This is a New York newspaper giving some insight on the National Labor Relations Act. When did this happen? The overall event of the Great Depression occurred in about 1930 to 1940. The National Labor Relations Act was put into play in 1935. It is believed that without this act, the economy would have taken longer to come around because this act promoted giving the middle class money, which drives America. In this photo was a factory before the National Labor Relations Act was put into place, where there's long hours and lots of brutal work. Why does this matter to me? This matters to me because in 15 years when I'm working, I would like to have some rights that preserve me. I don't want to be working 9 hours a day and get paid $4 an hour. I feel that without this act, America probably would not be as successful as it is today. Here is a copy and some basic annotations of the employees' rights. My opinion. Overall, I feel without this act, we still probably would be bickering about rights and be unsuccessful. The key to any country's economy is not the 1%, but that other 99% that does the real work. They do the real work by putting lots of money in the industrial and business of the economy. How will this affect us in the future? I feel that if we continue on this path of giving equal work and rights, everything will be fine. We will continue to have a strong economy that will be able to take the hard times. If we don't, though, we will have problems with uneven amounts of money in the different classes, which means less spending in the middle class. Less spending in the middle class is thought to be the cause of the Great Depression. Exactly what did the Wagner Act do to help teachers? An example of the Wagner Act helping teachers was during the racial movement. During the racial movement, teachers took lots of heat about racist remarks. At this time, the union would come in and defend them. How big a part did citizens play to get the Wagner Act passed? During the Great Depression, there were complaints from the general public that said that they were being underpaid and being worked under too hard of circumstances. The government response was the Wagner Act, which did not only please the people, but it also was part of the New Deal, which boosted the economy. Did any no-income workers get out of poverty from it? Since the Wagner Act was part of the New Deal, it did have a part in being income to the poor. It made employers increase their income or increase their job count, which improved the economy and helped people move out of poverty. What happened to the workers that were rowdy and obnoxious? During that time, if you're not fully committed and well-behaved, your job would be given away. This means that if you're rowdy, the same would probably happen. Since there's such a high demand for jobs and everyone wanted them. If you were not in tip-top shape, they'd let you go because there's plenty of other people that will be in tip-top shape. Here is my works cited.